Hey everypony, welcome to episode 0 of Like a Ditzy Do, a video blog about the My Little Pony collectible card game. Now, this isn't going to be a show about going to in-depth strategies, how to build the perfect deck, discussing things like One Pace and Dragon Express. Because frankly, I read the article on Dragon Express, I barely understood it, I have no idea what One Pace is, no. This is a more casual thing. I'm just going to be talking about stuff I like about the game, stuff I want to see in the game. When I get to play, I'll give you guys a report. I'll talk about the decks I build, how I make my deck decisions. I'll discuss the various keywords and cards and all that fun stuff. Now, some of you might be asking, why the buck are you doing this? There are other people who are already doing this, people who understand the game better, understand strategy better, understand how collectible card games in general work better than you. There are two main reasons I'm actually doing this. One is I really love this game. I just love it. Yes, I am a brony. I watched the show first, but I love the game. And like anybody else with something that they love, I have thoughts and ideas, and I just want to get them out there. And yes, I know there are message boards, I know there are websites, I am a member of a couple of Facebook groups. However, my days of being an active forum member in various fandoms have sort of passed. One, it's partially just due to, being an adult and having more responsibilities. I just don't have time to keep up with 100 message board posts anymore. The other is, honestly, I got sort of burnt out on the whole online discussion forum because I'm the guy who loves everything that everybody hates. And I just got tired of being told to die in a fire because I like the live-action Transformers movies. I realize admitting that on camera, I'm probably going to get the same thing in the YouTube comments, but I can ignore those. So, now for my second reason for doing this, I'm going to have to go a bit into a bit of a backstory, but I promise I won't take too long, or I'll try not to take too long. I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to 2 podcasts on a regular basis, though I am slowly expanding my horizons. One of those podcasts is called No Direction. It's all about the Pathfinder role-playing game, which I also am a huge fan of. You might see that slip in from time to time. Recently, No Direction celebrated their 100th episode. Now, as part of their 100th episode, the hosts, Ryan Costello and Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param, answered questions from their audience. And one of the questions they received was basically, how has the podcast changed your life? How is your life different? How is your life better? And basically, I'm like super summarizing here. Basically, they answered that the podcast made them better speakers and gave them more confidence. Before they would be very shy and awkward about asking for the interviews, and now they just basically walk up and ask for the interview. And that got me thinking. In my job, I have to deal with the public. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a public speaker, but I do interact with the public a lot. And that can be really challenging for me sometimes, honestly. Now, I don't know if this is something that's always been going on, I'm just now noticing, or it's something that's been developing more frequently, but I tend to trip over my own words. I'm really awkward. I get it's not crippling social anxiety, but I do get some social anxiety, and it prevents me from doing my job as well as I should be able to, I feel. My bosses have no complaints about me, really, but I know I could be better. So what I'm mostly hoping for with this is that I will be working out my talking muscles, so to speak. And eventually I will just get better, I will get more confident, it'll help overcome my social anxieties, so I could hopefully just do my job better and be a better person overall. It's not that I don't like talking to people, I'm just not very good at it. And really, 2015, for me, seems to be the year of self-improvement. I've actually kept most of my resolutions this year. I've been going to the gym on a regular basis, I'm recording this before a yoga class, so why not just take another step? Originally, I really wanted to do a My Little Pony card game podcast because I really, really want a My Little Pony card game podcast. I haven't been able to find one. Please, if you're watching this and you know of one, tell me. But Problem with the podcast is I would need to buy a better microphone. I would need to buy sound editing / podcasting equipment. I would have to figure out podcasting hosting sites, and I should probably get a co-host. I mean, I liked No Direction before Ryan Costello got his co-host, but there's no denying it got a lot better once he had a regular one. And, it's hard enough for me finding time to play the game, let alone find someone we can work out our schedules and get together and talk about it for an hour or so, however often. Maybe I'll switch to a podcast if the opportunity presents itself, but for now. Another advantage to the video cast is I do have some experience as an amateur video editor. I do have some experience being in front of the camera. There's this thing called this guy with the yellow cap out there. Just don't. A video blog in this case also kind of helps with the social anxiety because I meant to actually record this a lot earlier than I did, but the idea of basically trying to be visually interesting for the length of time, however long this thing is going to end up being, I'm already rambling a lot more than I thought I would. The idea made me nervous, so I want to work past that. So here we are. Next up, I thought I'd talk a little bit about my history with collectible card games, such as it is. Way back in the 90s, and I was still in 7th or 8th grade, one of my classmates just gave me some cards that he no longer wanted. And these were for Overpower, a collectible card game about, at the time, just Marvel superheroes. Now, I knew this game had existed, but I never paid any attention to it. However, when I just had these cards, I just became fascinated with them. I wanted to know how they worked. I started buying packs. I bought Overpower, these great things. They were comic books, but they taught you how to play the game. And I read those, and, time went on. I eventually just became obsessed with the game. Even now, I have almost every single card. Even when Overpower eventually died, I'm still obsessed with it. I was still trying to track cards and stuff down, so I was still into it for a very good few years afterwards. And occasionally I still play with my dad. And I can actually venture now. How many of you understand, have played Overpower, know exactly what I meant. As a teenager, I hated that aspect. It hurt my brain. It just added too much to the game. As an adult, I'm finally getting the hang with it, and I've won more than a few games that way, so I actually like Venture now. Now, there have been a ton of card games since, but for whatever reason, they never captured my attention. My dad bought some VS system cards. He bought some cards for the X-Men movie card game, and he gave them to me. But for some reason, that never had the same effect. I just didn't care. I still have those cards somewhere, I'm pretty sure, but I have no idea where the hell they ended up. And just about everything I like or loved at some point has had a collectible card game. And I just haven't cared, I just, for whatever reason, I was like, oh, hey, there's a Teen Titans collectible card game. Neat. And I move on. I've had 3 people try to teach me Magic the Gathering, and I just can't get my head around it. I slowly started to last time I saw people play, but again, it just really doesn't appeal to me. It seems way too complicated. I almost bought Card Wars from Adventure Time, but mostly because that was an in-show game. There was an episode all about Jake and Finn playing it. I'm still tempted to play it, honestly, and I probably would if I knew I had someone I would play with. And honestly, Flip the Pig is just fun to say. Now, flash forward a bit, and a friend of mine on Facebook mentions that there is going to be a collectible card game. And that was it. I knew right then I was going to end up buying it. Now, I told myself to hold off, wait until you know how the game works, wait till you've tried a chance to play it, see if you actually like the darn thing before you start buying it. But as soon as my local store got them, I bought the packs, found the decks at Walmart, bought them immediately. I had color-coded deck box and sleeves before I even knew how the game worked. Now, the only connection I can think of between the My Little Pony card game and Overpower card game is that I love My Little Pony now just as much as I loved comic books back in the day. I probably love My Little Pony more, honestly. I still love comics. I have a decent-sized pull list at my local comic book store, but I'm just not nearly as into them as I used to be. And in fact, my two favorite comic books right now are the My Little Pony comic books and Pathfinder comics, which are basically my two main things right now. Though now I'm actually finding myself really curious about other card games. I have some World of Warcraft cards I'd really like to learn how to use. For the first time, I'm genuinely interested, or at least curious, about the Pokemon card game. Someone tried to teach it to me when it was new, and I was bored. It also didn't help that the guy was just out to win and slaughtered me before I even knew what I was doing. That sort of killed any interest I would have had in that one. And I've been kind of eyeing the DBZ card game and Weiss Schwartz, particularly the Kill la Kill deck, because I love Kill la Kill. Yeah, that's basically it with me and collectible card games. Though I will share what I think is an interesting fact about myself, or at the very least I think it's kind of weird. My Little Pony, by far, is a much more complicated game than Overpower, mechanically, gameplay-wise. However, I'm actually getting pretty good at constructing my own My Little Pony decks. I'm not tournament level by any means, but I'm finally noticing the connections between cards and building strategy, and my decks have been slowly improving as my career in the game continues. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how to build an Overpower deck. Just, I don't know why, I just can't figure it out. So, when I play with my dad, he builds my decks for me. Anyway.
Twitchy tail.
Twitchy tail?
Twitchy tail! Hush, Spike. We can't let Pinky know we're here, remember?
Someone's gonna fall! Something's gonna fall! Run for your lives!
Ugh, Spike, honestly, you're overreacting.
I read a lot of webcomics, and back in 2010, my favorite, Shortpacked, mentioned that the best new show on the new Hub network was My Little Pony. And then from there, I just continued to hear word of mouth. People just rumbling on the internet that this My Little Pony of all shows was the most amazing thing ever. It was mentioned on a Transformers podcast I listened to at the time. Then one day, I'm homesick from work. I'm miserable enough that I can't really do much of anything, but still had enough of my mental facilities that I was so utterly bored. So I went to the Hub's website and I watched the episode they had online at the time, which was the season 1 episode, Feeling Pinky Keen. And I laughed so damn hard. Now, since the cable package I currently had back then didn't get the Hub, it took me a while to get through the whole first season. And I didn't start watching season 2 till it was halfway done. And yes, I'm going to tell you that I feel this show is really special. It has really helped me through a lot. Season 4 and Equestria Girls especially have special places in my heart for helping me through very specific things that I was going through at the times that they were, out in theaters or airing. Now, for any non-brony watching this, I'll just give a brief overview of the character of Ditzy Do. In the very first episode of My Little Pony, there are a ton of background ponies. Most of them, if you pay close enough attention, you'll notice that they are used more than once. One of these ponies is a Grey Pegasus with bubbles for her cutie mark. Now, in the first episode, there was an error where this Grey Pegasus with the bubble cutie mark, her eyes were not level. And the fans went crazy trying to figure out who this odd little pony was. And here we are. Now, part of the reason why I used that clip to open up this section is not only because it's a clip from the first episode I ever watched. I thought that was the first appearance of the animation error. As it turns out, in my research, and by research I mean looking up how to spell Ditzy Do correctly and reading Wikipedia for several hours, but apparently, according to my research, that animation error was in the first episode, and they showed a screen capture to back it up. However, I will argue that is the first time she appeared in character as the klutzy, ditzy pony we all know and love. Now, personally, my love of Ditzy Doo as a character is actually pretty recent, within the last year or so, I'd say. For a while, I just plain didn't get what the big deal was. It's a pony with funny eyes, okay? In fact, back when I was married and my now ex-wife was obsessed with the freemium mobile game, she was all excited about unlocking Ditzy Doo. And when I asked why, she started going on about how she was such a loving character, and I cut her off by shouting, "She's not a character, she's an animation mistake." And I wonder why I got divorced. Anyway, I think the first time I cared about Ditzy Doo one way or the other was in the Last Roundup.
Huh? Now, careful, Derpy! I don't want to do any more damage than you've already done. I just don't know what went wrong. Yeah, it's a mystery.
She got a whole scene and actually talked. And the controversy which followed.
Yeah, Applejack! Woohoo!
I'm just really glad the Friendship Express DVD has the unaltered version of the episode. And the Last Roundup is just a great episode, no matter how you look at it. Now, the first time I ever remember being excited about Ditzy was the end credits of the first Equestria Girls movie where, you see her dancing with her muffin. I don't know why that made me so happy. In fact, I'm pretty sure I missed her apparently 2 appearances in the movie proper. But either way, I went around saying Ditzy got her due for like a week. So yeah, somewhere along the line, Ditzy not only became my favorite of the other 6, but she's hands down my favorite character on the show, and probably one of my favorite characters of all time. Don't know how, don't know why, but here we are. If I had to guess why Ditzy appealed to me so much...
Anything I can do to help? No, nothing. In the name of Celestia, just sit there and do nothing. My bad. That's kind of how I see myself, honestly. I want to help. I'll do just about anything I can do to help, especially help my friends. But a lot of times I inadvertently make things worse. I can also be kind of unobservant, kind of forgetful, kind of clumsy. Basically come off as kind of a ditz. Now, I really wish I would have had my roommate email this to me when he showed it to me, but there's this fan-made comic strip that I think perfectly encapsulates how I see Ditzy. Now, just about anyone who watches the show know Twilight spent the first 4 seasons living in the Golden Oaks Library. And every exterior shot of the library shows a beehive hanging off one of the branches, bees constantly buzzing around it. And at the end of season 4, the library got blowed up real good. This comic strip shows Twilight looking over the burned out remains of Golden Oaks Library and looking very sad about it. Then she hears someone call her name and she looks up to see Ditzy Doo carrying a branch with the bees. And she's been stung so many times. She's got welts all over, but she's still smiling. And she basically says, "Here, Twilight, I know you're sad, your home blew up, but I found this for you so you can have it in your new home." Something like that. I'm not quoting it exactly. And, of course, Twilight hugs her, and Ditzy's just happy she was able to help a friend. I mean, that's just beautiful in its own way. Another good way to get exposed to the character is the YouTube series Doctor Who's and the Assistant. The voice actress they have for Ditzy in that show is perfect. I would love for her to
do it on the show sometime, but I sincerely doubt that's ever going to happen. So I think that about does it for episode 0 of Like a Ditzy Do. As for update schedule, for now I'm going to try to have at least one episode up a month. You know, if this proves popular enough and I can work my schedule enough, I will try to have more. But even if this is not popular, I am going to try to keep doing this for no other reason than, well, the reasons I explained in the first section of this. And I also think I'm going to try to end every episode with a question for the viewers. And for now, I'll start pretty basic. You can see I have the posters, well, both sides of the poster from the Celestial Solstice box hanging behind me. My question to my viewers is, do you think I should take a pen and check mark the cards that I have? Now, any collectors out there worrying about mint condition or whatever, one of these ripped while I was putting it up, so that's already out the window. I doubt whenever the time comes to take these things down, I'll be able to get them down in one piece. But relax, I bought 3 boxes of Celestial Solstice, and the third poster is safely tucked away, where it will hopefully stay in mint condition forever. So that wraps it up. I'm the Nate Dam Z, and until next time, I'm gonna go hopefully finally get some absolute Discord cards. Like a Ditzy Do.